Suffer the children. Telltale. So good, Telltale. Refresh to download the latest choices. See more of your choices online. I guess they can't really like show us what our choices is because unfortunately I'm thinking the servers are down. So like you can't really see what choices you made, which is really sad. You left Violet feeling vengeful. Violet was relieved when you and AJ returned to the school. Violet was exhilarated when you confessed your feelings for her. And she's vengeful. I guess it could be worse. You left James feeling trusted. James felt helpful when you let him feed AJ the apple. James was attentive when you said you were originally from Georgia. Fortunately, James didn't hear about us, you know, killing him and kill, kiss, or marry. 10, you left 10 feeling despondent. 10 was thoughtful when you said people need to make new rules. 10 felt hopeful after sharing his belief that the Walker age will end someday. You felt Lily feeling unconvinced. Lily was gratified that you remembered her. Lily was pleased when you accepted her help to stand. You left Ruby feeling grateful. Ruby was distressed when you said everyone shared responsibility for what happened to Marlon. Ruby was consoled after you expressed sympathy over finding the school nurse. Abel was captured. Oh, interesting. Could Abel have not been captured? Could he have died or something else? I'm wondering how that would have worked out. Abel was aggravated when you warned Violet and Lewis to run in the forest. Abel was impressed when you taunted Lily with shooting you. Mitch is dead. I guess, is there a way to not have Mitch die? Mitch was exasperated when you told him to watch his mouth at the funeral. Mitch was irritated when you decided to help Ruby bury the Walker. Maybe it would have been possible for Ruby to have died if you had made these decisions. You allowed, I love how the Telltale says that. I allowed, really Telltale, allowed Lewis to be kidnapped. Lewis was comforted when you said you were sorry you and AJ hurt him. Lewis felt discouraged when you chose to spend time with Violet instead of him. Lewis felt discarded when you let the Raiders take him. I mean, I'm sorry, Lewis, but in character, Clementine, if it was between saving Lewis and her girlfriend, if that's what they are, I'm sorry. In character, Clementine saving her girlfriend. I'm sorry. You left AJ feeling repentant. See, I like that for AJ. AJ was soothed after sleeping in your bed. AJ was resigned after you didn't give him dibs on killing Abel. Well, I mean, we won that fair and square. I gave him the opportunity with the rock, paper, scissors thing. The state of the school. Omar was kidnapped. Rosie was loyal to you after you petted her in the courtyard. Willie was annoyed you didn't choose his trap to defend against the Raiders. Asim was kidnapped. I miss Asim. And Omar was cool too. Collected 3 of 3 items during the episode. So what did you guys think? What did you guys think of that episode? Let me know in the chats, please. And for those of you who want to start asking me questions for my Q&A, ask me anything that you want, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. Marlon is watching from the afterlife. He would totally be saying, Clementine, shoot the head. Don't break my bowl. Asim, no. Yeah, if you save Violet, they take Asim and Omar. So they still take Asim. If you save Asim, if you save Violet, they take Asim and Omar. So would they have taken other people if I saved Lewis instead? They have to free Lewis, Minnie, and Sophie. Oh my god, he's still alive. Like I said, he's gonna have no limbs left by the end of this. Oh, the ending song from season 2. Oh man, he's scrappy. It's strange to think it could end like this. So we never see Clem become a torturer. The forums are still up, but the servers would be down most likely. This song just makes me cry now. There is no way for Mitch to live. Okay, so Mitch will die anyway. If Abel was shot by AJ in the first episode, he couldn't be captured. Oh. If Abel was shot in the... if Abel was shot by AJ in the first episode. I thought that you couldn't shoot Abel. I thought that if AJ shot Abel, then it was game over. I believe Abel always gets captured and Mitch always dies. Hashtag Free Lewis. Oh, they use the In the Pine song from episode season 2. Oh, yeah, In the Pine. That was my favorite song from the soundtracks. Oh man, I hope they manage to get the other 2 episodes out. I want to meet James and save Lewis. Yeah, I hope so too. I think that that was the best episode for quite a long time. I can send you a link to the Clement Lewis kiss scene if you want to. Um, it was great. I would rate it 9.5 out of 10 stars. Apologies if you spoke about this earlier, but if Telltale did scrape together a way to finish the series with a different dev team, would you play it? Of course! Why wouldn't I? Absolutely! No question. If they did, yes. This was a nice episode. I hope the group will still start a counterattack. They have to free Omar, Lewis, Asim, and of course, Minnie and Sophie. So I missed the beginning of the stream. Did you at all talk about Telltale shutting down and the events that happened in it? No, Evan. Well, a little bit. I basically told everyone that I wanted to save any discussion about Telltale shutting down. I wanted to save that for the Q&A session because I didn't want that. I wanted the focus of the Let's Play to be about having fun with this episode as opposed to, you know, discussing what happened to the studio. I didn't want that to get in the way of us having fun. So now is a perfect time to ask about that if you'd like. But I am planning on doing a Let's Talk with a group of people, a group of panelists on Telltale in general as a company and what happened to them, which may end up being a Let's Hang. So, Evan, if you are interested in joining us with that Let's Hang, let me know so I can send you an invite. Because it'd be really cool to hear your thoughts if you think you have some thoughts on all of that. Or to join us on the discussion. So, anyway, guys, again, we're in the Q&A session. Ask me whatever you want at this moment. I really, really thought this episode was very well done. I thought the length was great. It was awesome meeting the new characters. I thought James was very interesting. I definitely would have loved to see more of him. I'm really glad that they gave Clementine the option, and I'm hoping that there's a way for you to stay friends with everybody and not necessarily romantically involved with anyone. But I like that they gave Clementine the option of pursuing some sort of romantic feelings for at least 2 of the characters. And I thought that the scene with Violet was very well done when they were looking at the constellations. It was very cute. So, you know, I liked all the conversations we had with AJ. It was a great episode, which is why, of course, it breaks my heart if this ends up being the final episode that we will ever get of The Walking Dead final season. Because, you know, we're at such a cliffhanger right now. We don't know we're only halfway through, and there's only 2 episodes left. But who knows? I think it's still up in the air what'll happen to those 2 episodes. And even if they do come, I don't know if it'll necessarily be anytime soon. I don't even know if it'll end up being anytime this year. But we'll see. I'm wondering whether the whole Walking Dead series would be stronger if the cast of each season wasn't wiped out. Imagine if, like in the TV series, we had some characters in our group that had been in every episode. Deaths would mean so much. I actually would have liked that a lot. You know, if we still had people from, just like in the TV show, if we still had people from the original episode, in the original season 1, instead of just Clementine, I would have loved that. But, I mean, I still like the story that we got up to this point, with the exception of, you know, Luke not making it past season 2. So, I know Luke wasn't from episode 1, but if I was going to save any character and bring them all the way up to this point, you guys are not surprised if I say, thy name is Luke, if Lee, you know, didn't survive the first season. How how I like how you get to spend time with the teenagers you didn't spend time with in episode 1. Can we discuss how that Telltale Games are shutting down? Yes, you can discuss. Ask me whatever questions you have for me about that. Please do. I am pretty interested. What would I have to do? You have... do you have my email, Evan? I thought you do. I think you have my email, Evan. Email me, and I'll give you details. Telltale is in the talks to make episode 3 and 4 with another game company. They are on a tweet and have posted that. Yes, and there actually is... I have seen that, and there's a lot of controversy over that. So, for those of you who are not up to date, Telltale originally didn't really give any details about whether or not they were going to actually keep working on the final season of The Walking Dead. They did confirm, though, that they had a very small skeleton crew group that would be working on finishing up the next Minecraft story mode game because of contractual reasons. They have to finish it. So they're going to have a group that does that. But they did not confirm for a while that they would do anything with The Walking Dead. Since then, there has been a tweet where they said that they had some of their partners that said they would be willing to work with them on possibly finding a way to release the next 2 games. And I had assumed, when I read that tweet, I assumed that these partners were offering to do it out of the kindness of their own hearts, and either doing it for free or doing it for very, very little pay, if at all. So that's what I assumed was happening, because I can see that being possible. I think it's possible that there are some developers out there who recognize the tragedy of what happened and may offer to help out in developing the last 2 games for Telltale, and either doing it for free or doing it for very little pay. That was my assumption. I don't know if I'm right or not. So anyway, since that tweet had been released, a lot of people there was a backlash from that. Even though a lot of fans were overjoyed and were excited that at the idea that there's some hope, a ray of light, that they might be able to actually finish Clementine's story, there was a backlash, particularly from the ex-employees, all of developers that were laid off from their jobs, the 200 some ridiculous number of employees that were laid off, were upset at that because they felt that Telltale, the company, was prioritizing making the fans happy over giving severance pay to the developers. For those of you who don't know what severance pay is basically the pay that you get after you are laid off, just to help you out. Like, normally it's like a paycheck or 2. Like, you continue getting a paycheck or 2, maybe 3 if your company is very generous, of your money over time, so that you have, so that you basically have a little bit of a buffer period to find a new job. Lots of companies do that. A lot of companies have severance packages, particularly for people that are laid off as opposed to fired. Like, it wasn't their fault necessarily that they lost their job. They're just laid off. If they're fired, you normally don't get a severance pay. But if you're laid off, you normally do, because it wasn't necessarily your fault that you got laid off. And so, but the problem was, Telltale is so broke that they could not afford to give severance pay to 200 some people. And so a lot of them are complaining that, Telltale, instead of paying the severance pay, instead of paying the developers their severance pay, they're instead paying these partners to develop the games for them. So maybe I'm just misunderstanding, because again, when I saw that tweet, I thought that those partners were either doing it for free or for very little money. Certainly way less money then that then would even come close to giving severance pay to 200 developers. So I totally understand and agree with the sentiment, absolutely agree with the sentiment that they should prioritize, helping to give some sort of severance to the developers over satisfying the fans, because as annoying and upsetting and it's terrible and awful, I mean, I'm a fan as well. It'd be awful and terrible for us to have this non-resolved storyline and not see the ending of Clementine's story. But I feel like the lesser of the evil is, allowing all of those developers to starve and not pay their bills and not, be able to support their family because they were just out of nowhere, had the rug pulled out of them and thrown into, into unemployment without any help whatsoever, without any pay, severance pay whatsoever. I totally get that that's more important than satisfying the fans. I'm just confused and not sure that by them having partners finish their game, I don't think that that affects their severance pay issue at all. If, I don't see, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't see, like I said, I don't see them paying nearly as much as they would be paying to give severance pay to 200 some developers as they would to these partners finish their game. Again, maybe I'm just like naive and totally not understanding it. It doesn't seem like Telltale has the money to be able to do that, unfortunately. And it's not the developer's fault, it's Telltale's fault. So it sounds like they're trying really hard to solve as much as possible, alleviate a really terrible, tragic situation. And I just don't envy their position. So, let's see. Telltale is in talks to make. I'm so heartbroken about Telltale closing. Clementine has been so important to me. I didn't notice Clementine '09. Really? She is Clementine '09? I think of her every single day, and this hurts me to never see her again with a proper ending. We will know in a week or two. I just worry that with an entirely different group of programmers and writers, it simply wouldn't be the same thing. That's possible, but it might be better than nothing. Maybe it'll be better than nothing. I don't know. It's not confirmed. If they do decide to release the rest of the episodes, what would you like to see? Good question, Evan. I would love to see some sort of resolution on what happened to Krista, because that never got resolved in any way. So that's what I would like to see. I would like to see them develop the relationship between either Clementine or Violet, or Clementine or Clementine or Lewis, whichever one you chose. Before this episode finished, I would have loved to have seen some option of getting close to James and maybe going after James, but I feel like they wouldn't do that now that you've already established or could establish a relationship with Lewis or Violet. I think that would be really weird for them to do. I would like to definitely see the culmination of how we've been raising AJ throughout the entire 4 episodes and seeing how that affects things with AJ at the very end. I would like to see one more flashback with Lee. And then maybe Luke afterwards. I can't let it go, guys. I'm so sorry. I just can't let it go. I would like to see 10 not die. Very much so. If there was any child besides Clementine and AJ that I would like to see not die, it would be 10. And I'm sorry to say this, but I definitely would save 10 from dying over Violet any day. I love Violet. I just love 10 more, and I think 10 needs to be protected more than Violet does. So hopefully that answered your question, Evan. These are good questions. Um, from what I know about the game from what I know about game development, they make a lot of things in advance. So I'm betting they've already got most of episode 3 done, and episode 4 is the one that needs the most work. That's what I'm thinking. I'd like to think that a good chunk of episode 3 is probably already done. And I would like to think some groundwork has been done with episode 4, just because they already had the release dates for all 4 episodes posted publicly even before episode 1 was released. So I feel like they had to have had a good amount of the game already completed. So I think that by that point, the writers, I think the story would still be the same. So if you're worried about whether the story would be different, the story's already been written, and probably a lot of it was already programmed in. It's just a bunch of programmers just need to, like, add the scaffolding around it. That's why Omid's death hit us so much. I'm heartbroken that Telltale Game is shutting down. It sounds like they're having money. It sounds like they were having money problems for a while. Yeah, because I mean, you kind of saw the telltale signs. Oh, too soon. You kind of saw the telltale signs, because if you remember, they did have a large group of layoffs. Not nearly as large as last one, but they did have a wave of layoffs, like, earlier. I don't know if it was this year or last year. And it was probably because back then they realized that they were just losing money and they just weren't making enough. No, The Walking Dead stream without mentioning Luke. Yeah, I know. You know me too well. I mean, if the worldwide human attrition rate is the same as it is in the games, there can't be many people left. I do feel kind of bad. I do kind of feel a little bad considering they are now being sued for mistreatment, I believe. Yeah, I do know they made Minecraft as a way to keep themselves afloat. It did work for a while, but it wasn't enough. And I find that really funny. So they, according to what I had read, there was an article that I read that said that since The Walking Dead Season 1, the only profitable game that they released ever since The Walking Dead Season 1 was Minecraft Story Mode. Everything else, they lost money. I think what happened was they got a lot of money from The Walking Dead Season 1, and they got a lot of stakeholders that, you know, sort of threw money at them after the success of The Walking Dead Season 1. So because of all of that nest egg, they were okay if some of their games didn't profit. But I think it just got to the point where it just ran out. So I feel like the moment that they started doing all those layoffs was the moment when they just ran out of money from the original stakeholders after Season 1. So they realized, hey, like, we got to keep afloat here. We're going to have to make some cuts. And then at that point, they were trying to, like, pay off some debt. And they were hoping that other games would turn a profit. But for whatever reason, not even games like Tales from the Borderlands, which I thought were amazing, or The Wolf Among Us, none of those games, according to the article that I read, actually earned them a profit. The only ones that did was The Walking Dead Season 1 and the Minecraft Story Mode, which I find really ironic because, at least me personally, just out of my own personal opinion, I felt that compared to the other Telltale game titles since The Walking Dead Season 1, I felt that Minecraft Story Mode was the weakest of all of the Telltale games up to that point. I still enjoyed the game, don't get me wrong. I still love Lucas to death from that game. But if I were comparing them to everything else, like The Wolf Among Us or Game of Thrones or Tales from the Borderlands, to me, the Minecraft Story Mode didn't hold a candle to them. However, the franchise of Minecraft Story Mode is so popular and so universal, then I can definitely see why they would be more profitable. So yeah, they were having money problems, and I feel like this game could have helped, but it probably still would have been too little too late, unfortunately. In Telltale's case, they laid off so many people very suddenly. Most of them would have had a very hard time recovering. So really they do need to have some kind of repayment. That's the moral quandary I'm having. I'd love to see the series finish, but there might be a funny taste in my mouth afterwards. Hark, what episode games do you plan to play on future live streams? You mentioned thinking of live streaming Life is Strange 2. What about after that? Is there any episode game that you're interested? That is a very good question. Very good question. So for those of you who were later, who came in later, I did announce that I am going to be live streaming Life is Strange 2. Most likely I'm going to be live streaming the first episode of Life is Strange 2 next week, probably next Sunday. So keep an eye out on my YouTube channel for the announcement for that if you're a Life is Strange fan. Very good question about what I would do after, because if you have noticed, I enjoy and very much prefer live streaming episodic games, and the reason I like to do that is because they are short. They are short, and because they're episodic, they have natural like breakpoints, natural beginning and ends. Each episode is its own bite-sized piece that I can just live stream for a few hours, and then I'm done, and then I don't have to necessarily live stream again for another month or 2 or 3. And that's so much easier for me than live streaming other games, because, you know, with every other game that isn't episodic, you know, it's harder for me. It's harder for me to just randomly decide, you know, when to play them, you know, because if it's a game like Divinity Original Sin 2, for example, or the Dragon Age games or the Mass Effect games, I'm just gonna play it when I feel like playing it. You know, whenever is convenient for me, I'm just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna record myself let's playing this game, and I know that a lot of YouTubers do that, like spontaneously say, hey guys, I'm gonna live stream this game in like the next hour, or hey guys, in 15 minutes I'm gonna live stream this game now. It's just, I don't know, like it's I don't know, that concept just doesn't work very well to me, and I just feel like it's awkward for me just for consistency to have, like, you know, some moments that I'm live streaming and some moments that I'm not live streaming, and live streaming is a little bit more tiring and more exhausting than just recording on my own, because, you know, I want to be engaging, of course. I want to engage with you guys, and that takes time and a little bit more energy, versus if I was just sitting down and like recording myself playing a game and just ending whenever I wanted to. It's just easier for me, so that's why I like doing the episodic games. I don't have anything currently planned for episodic games to play after Life is Strange 2, and that's just because I don't know, and I haven't done the research yet to find out what other episodic games are out there that I could live stream. So if you guys have any ideas, if you know of some games that are episodic that I could be live streaming for, you're free to suggest that and let me know, and I'll take a look at them. So thank you for that question. I fall into fantasy. I don't think Telltale will be fundraising to finish Walking Dead. If they are, then I agree that they should be fundraising for the employees first, but I think they are trying to offload Walking Dead to a partner, not receiving money for it. That's what I thought. That's what I'm thinking. So it could just be that the employees are misinformed. I don't know. I have no idea. Also, I assume the partners would be the ones investing their money into finishing The Walking Dead, because it would be good publicity with a game most people would be interested in buying, so they might make the money back. I thought so as well. Yeah. I don't think, I think I might be naive, but I feel like the employees that are upset at Telltale and saying, you know, you should be paying us over making this game made, I don't think that they fully understand. I feel like they're misinformed, but again, this is me just speculating. I don't know for sure. I feel like instead of making so many games at once, they should have focused more on improving their stuff, like the engine. They got one, but it was too late by then. Yeah, I was so disappointed too, because I was really curious about Telltale's new engine, and we just never got to see it. I always figured we could either see Lily again or Krista again. I don't think we'll see both. It's perfectly realistic, this world, to be separated and never see each other again. Yeah, of course. The gameplay was unfair in the final fight, arrows and bows versus guns and bullets. I agree. But then again, Telltale have shown us Lily and Kenny again well after they thought they were gone. Hark Luke is gone. Let him go. Let him go. He's at the. Oh, man. It's been how many years and it's still too soon for me. Still too soon for me. Cerulean is right. We test DLC sometimes even before the game is out. That's what I thought. Robbie Damon was in Telltale Games before this on his IMDb. It says he has voiced one of the Guardians of the Galaxy series. Oh, I did not know that. Which character was he in Guardians of the Galaxy? I also believe I have your email because I don't see it in my contacts at least. I did PM you on YouTube before, but that's gone now. We'll figure something out then, Evan Anger. We'll see if we can figure something out. Maybe it's because maybe it's because the game was more for children and children were more drawn to the story than we adults are to the other games. They bought a lot of very expensive IP, like Game of Thrones, Batman, Guardians, Minecraft. I think once The Walking Dead Season 1 had made Telltale name, they should have created their own worlds and stories so they were more profitable and not paying half their profits to IP owned by someone else. That's, on hindsight, that's definitely a possible idea that would have prevented this from happening. It's hard to say though if that really would have helped, because I think that they were saying The Walking Dead was an IP that was really popular that got people into really liking their games, and I think that they thought we should just continue with that formula of getting a really popular IP and then make a game about it. I don't think that was necessarily a bad idea. I feel like that had a lot of potential of working, but again, I don't know how much like they would have. I guess if they came out with their own IP, it's possible. It's very possible that they would have been more successful. I don't know. We'll never know. It's a shame Game of Thrones didn't make money because it must have been very expensive to license. Yeah. Little Nightmares is an episodic game, a very good atmospheric game which makes you think and theorize about its events. Little Nightmares. Alright, Kiwi, I'll have to look into that. Last stream you mentioned that the company who created the game, A Tale of Two Sons, you intend to play to co-op another of their game that's set in prison. When is that coming out and what is it called? Oh, good question. It is called A Way Out. I have the videos already. Dylan and I already beat the game. We already finished recording it. We finished recording it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've just been, my plan was to release it after Lauren, the Amazon Princess, was done on my YouTube channel, because right now I'm already like running 3 games on my channel: Divinity Original Sin 2, Lauren the Amazon Princess, and the Borderlands series, plus my tabletop campaigns, plus this game. So I was trying to wrap up. I wanted to wrap up Lauren before I introduced a new game, and there's only 2 more episodes of Lauren the Amazon Princess left. Right now, though, for the next several days, I'm going to be releasing this series, The Walking Dead, before going back to Lauren again. But A Way Out should be out, I'm thinking, within the next 2 weeks. Within the next 2 weeks, you should start seeing those episodes, probably by next week. Good question. So I've started binge watching Kitchen Nightmares recently and enjoying it a lot. I see why it has a lot of appeal. Yeah, I've been watching some Kitchen Nightmares. I've definitely been watching a lot of MasterChef. That one is one I'm really hooked on at the moment. Can I mention Robbie Damon is in Spyro Relight Trilogy? He's going to play Hunter when PC game comes out. I'm buying. Cool. So I'm reaching the end of the chat. So if you guys have anything else you want me to ask me or you want me to discuss, please speak now or forever hold your peace. Otherwise, I will be calling it a day. And yeah, so if you have any last minute things to ask me about, feel free to ask me right now. Hark, Robbie Damon. Ooh, yes, MasterChef Junior is one of my comfort watches. I can't really think about any episodic games you haven't played yet besides Before the Storm, but I know there's a lot of single-player games you'd like, such as Quantum Break and Phoenix Wright. Yes, those are both on my list, and they're actually pretty high on my list. I'm hoping to get to them eventually, but they are very high on my list. Did my paragraph not come through because it was too long? I don't know. Can we watch the Lewis romance? We can. I would suggest the Ace Attorney or Dragon Danganronpa. Yeah, I have that one. I have in my list as well. Both have trials you could live stream. I will look at some episodic games for you. Also, Zero Escape series are great. Okay, so hopefully this video is not too long. The Clement Lewis. I'm gonna go watch the Clement Lewis scene. You guys who are watching currently at home can't see it, but if you're watching on YouTube, I'll try to add it after the fact. But you can probably hear everything. I might as well just react to this while I can. Ooh, that's pretty. I do love music. I'm a sucker for music, so if Lewis wasn't so immature at times, I would have picked him just for this, basically.
Thought I could tickle the ivories one last time before all hell breaks loose.
It's a good idea. Haven't heard music in a while.
Many people would say you're not about to hear it now. So, how do you feel about our imminent deaths? We won't necessarily die, of course. We could also be kidnapped, injured, maimed, maybe eaten. The possibilities are endless.
Oh boy.
Keeping it together, it isn't easy.
A lot
But the
to look forward
alternative
to.
is giving up. And I'm not doing that.
Oh man, my whole give up plan is shot to hell. If you're not gonna, I definitely can't.
So, what's this project you needed me for?
Sounds awful, right? All we need to do is tune it. That's why I need you.
You can't tune it yourself? Okay. I mean,
When
I
I
know.
get the signal, play the A key.
Yeah, which one's the A key?
You know, the A key. Next to the B key. After the G key.
That doesn't help, Lewis.
Good. That definitely helped. Now press the pedals while I make some more adjustments. Great, that part's golden. Quick, now blow on the strings.
What?
I know, sounds weird, but blow on them. Cooling the temperature helps set them in harmony.
Okay. I don't remember. Okay. I think you're just trying to make us a fool.
Okay, great. That did nothing, because that's not at all part of how you tune a piano.
I thought so. I thought so.
But it was funny. It could have done something on like a molecular level. Or maybe it's good luck to blow on strings.
You are super cute.
Cute. Wow, that's, yay!
This
Glad to
is
be
a
of
lot
service.
more. This is a lot more humorous than the Violet one, I have to say. It's a little bit more charming than the Violet. The tones are very different, which is what you would expect between these two characters.
What are
I
you
do
playing?
like
And
how
don't
vastly
say a
different
piano.
these scenes are.
A song that I wrote.
Really? What's it called?
I don't know yet. There. First time played. We should mark the occasion.
Are we putting our initials on the piano? CL.
You done tattooing that piano? I think you've got a future in Whitland. I like saying Whitland. Whitland. Okay, I'll stop.
Carve a heart around it. Nice.
Oh, that's a potato? It's a heart. Yep, I see. It's a heart. That's super cool. Really cool.
I'm sure it is.
So, hey, I'm gonna dig myself into a deep hole from which I'll never emerge. Cool? Cool. Huh. Time to get serious.
Serious? Wow. You feeling okay?
I know.
Not really, nope. Thanks for being here. Listening. blowing on the strings. Coming here to help me with my project, even after everything I put you through. And
Yeah.
everything I had to work through for myself. Everyone hears the jokes, the piano, and after that, they stop listening. You didn't.
I like you. Nice.
So, I like you a lot. Like you. As more than a friend. No jokes? Nothing?
So, you were lying in Truth or Dare? You do have feelings for someone. Someone named Lewis, which is my name, by the way. Figured out what to call the song. Clementine, obviously. You know, because I like fruit, and I like you even more, so... there. Gotta admit, of all the things I saw coming, you having a crush on me was not it.
Well, if
You
Clementine
stabbing
wasn't a
me in my
fruit
sleep.
before, she
Yes.
certainly is a fruit
Declaration
now.
of crush.
Oh. That's cute too. And he looks very surprised as well, with a little giggle, which is also cute.
Clem, you out here?
I have to go. I've got lookout duty.
Well, you wouldn't want to miss that. Sounds like way too much fun.
I like both scenes. That scene and Violet's scene, both of them were very well done. Thank you for sharing that. That was very cute. Will Telltale Games be removed from the Stream store? I doubt it. I don't know. I have no idea. I hope not, because their games are still great, even though they didn't profit. I would like to believe they would still keep it up. The new game Dragon Quest came out recently. It's an RPG, and I'm wondering if you're interested in playing it one day. Dragon Quest, that sounds familiar. For me, the fact that they released so much stuff is what made me not buy it. Not consciously. It seemed like every time I bought and played one game, they released another. And I already spent what I had, so I couldn't support them as much as I wanted to. Those piano strings could have been cheese wire traps. Maybe we've made it through. Hark, what of the teenagers you get to spend time with? What of the teenagers you get to spend time with this episode? I'm not exactly understanding that question. I fall into fantasy. Could you repeat that? Because I don't understand what you I don't understand what you're asking. This is moving pretty fast. Ruby, Mitch, Violet, Asim. Oh, which of the teenagers would you want to spend more time with? Asim. I really like Asim. I would have loved to have spent more time with Asim, just because he intrigues me. I would have shipped Asim personally if I had a choice. I would have shipped Asim with Clementine over Violet and Lewis, but that's just me. I wonder, Clem, now he's seen both scenes, which one is better? I prefer a lot. I prefer humorous. I find humor very, very attractive, extremely attractive. So like if I were just seeing both scenes at face value, the one with Lewis does resonate more with me. That, and I'm a sucker for music. You know, I've been very, very I've been very interested in music. So between the music and the humor, for me, the Lewis one definitely resonates more. But I think, again, in character, it makes sense for my Clementine to have had a moment with Violet instead. I wonder how it would have gone if you let whoever you romanced then get captured. I was tempted. Like, I felt that most people, if you chose to romance Lewis, most people would save Lewis, and if you chose to romance Violet, most people would save Violet. So I was tempted just to switch things up. I was tempted to save Lewis, even though I romanced Violet. But like at the last minute, I was like, no, I have to stay in character. And in character, my Clementine would be consistent and try to save Violet. But I was tempted. I heard the final season of The Walking Dead has been delisted from every digital store besides the Nintendo eShop. I see. If they stay on the stream store, I want to create some videos for YouTube later. I love how he's so flirtatious at first, but then when she actually reciprocates, he's all cute and bashful. Yeah, I'm a sucker for that as well. Was that at me? I like Violet's more, but I felt that my Clem personally hadn't shown any LGBT tendencies, so she would have been Lewis. But instead, I walked away with Violet, but told her we were friends. That's perfectly legit too. Unlike Kate, Violet was very cool with just being friends. Right, which I think is great and mature, and you know, I thought the way that Kate reacted to things in season 3, it just annoyed me to no end. Hark, now what do you think of the teenagers that you spend with this episode? Mitch, Ruby, Asim, AJ10, Violet, and Lewis. Or what do I think of them? What do I think of them? Mitch, I mean, obviously, Mitch just had a very rough episode today. And I'm not just talking about him dying. He just, you know, he was very sour, and he just was not giving us a very good impression of him. So I was not very happy with Mitch. I understood why he was being a jerk face, and I don't condone him being a jerk face. I didn't want him to die, because I feel like eventually we could have been cool, but we never got that opportunity. Ruby, I really liked how her character stepped up a bit. I really enjoyed that moment when we were talking about her teacher, and you know how we learned about her being the doctor basically, and how she learned how to be a doctor. So she really was a really cool in this episode. Asim I always liked. I didn't like how he behaved with I forgot the other kid's name, but you know, he went out of line. He deserved that punch. And I'm really upset that he got captured, because I would have loved to have spent more time with him. AJ, I like how he's shaping up to be. He's understanding the grays. He's starting to take responsibility for his actions and his behaviors and the consequences of them. So I'm proud of him at this moment. 10 is just adorable. I love how deep he got during the card game. And I love how he, you know, clearly was able to see our side of the story. I just want to adopt that kid. He's so sweet. Violet definitely grew on me a lot these last couple of episodes. I definitely had more respect for her. I feel like we bonded more with her. And it was just really cool just to see her relationship with Clementine develop. And then Lewis just went the other direction. Lewis just... He's just so immature, and it just was as big a turnoff for me and my Clementine. I like Lewis, but he wasn't really, again, like Mitch, he didn't really give us very many good impressions this episode. So, you know, Lewis's brownie points kind of were lost on me this episode. If I had a choice between all the teens, yeah, Ruby's for me. Aw, it's the ginger, right? It's because she's ginger. I would choose Lewis even if I have a choice between all the teens. He's smiling the death into the face. Cool. I'll look up more episode games for future live streams. Mitch not a hero trying to save his friends. He did. Robbie Damon is awesome. Okay, guys, that is it. So this might be, who knows, but this might be my last Telltale live stream. Yeah, Telltale's games has been the main reason why I do live stream on my channel. It is what I have been live streaming on my channel since I pretty much started live streaming. And it's just so tragic what happened to them, and I'm so gonna miss their company so much. I'm gonna miss, you know, everything they've done. I'm glad I still have the games though, and I can still replay them and relive them and bask in the glory that used to be Telltale back in the days. And, you know, it just hurts a lot that I felt that they had so much potential and they could have easily had a much brighter future. I wish it didn't end for them this way. But I'm going to remember them for, you know, what they were able to accomplish, despite the fact that the vast majority of their games since The Walking Dead season 1 did not profit them, I absolutely loved them still. I still absolutely love them even though they weren't profitable, which is a shame because I feel like, you know, they could have done better. They could have made better decisions as to how they told their stories and improved upon them. I'm not blaming I'm not completely saying that Telltale wasn't at least at fault for, you know, maybe not getting out of their recipe, their normal recipe from The Walking Dead season 1. They could have easily have made some better decisions and they'd made better changes from that. But you know, I'm just gonna miss them. That's really it. I'm just gonna miss them. So anyway, we'll hopefully my heart goes out to all of the developers who were laid off, everyone who is affected by this, and I'm hoping that as a fan, I would love to see this series finished in some form, even if it's just a Word document or a PDF that someone who used to work at Telltale types up to let us know what was supposed to be happening at the end. I don't know. But it's so tragic and I'm gonna miss it. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this live stream. Would love to see you guys on my future live streams of Life is Strange. And until then, love yourselves and love each other.